All right, my champs, good morning. It's your boy Sean, and today we're going to talk about upselling. And I wanted to start this session with just a quick story about why I think upselling is not only crucial to anyone's business, but I want to also tell you how easy it can be. Okay, so one of the things that me and my wife love to do, and I think we've gotten our friend Jody Ardito hooked on it, is we went to Disneyland, and we usually go every other weekend or so, sometimes more. And I always make the comment that Disneyland is like a giant upsell. All right, so if you consider this for a minute, you buy tickets to get in the park, and they have two parks, so they actually can kind of upsell you that way too. You can buy one park ticket, or you can buy two. All right. Once you get into the to the grounds of that property, there's upsells everywhere. They're real sophisticated about it. They're trying to sell you food, merchandise, drinks, annual passes, the whole bit. They're even sophisticated to the point where they use technology where they can blow scents out of certain foods. Like they're big on selling churros, and you smell the cinnamon, death around you. But they're so good at it. Like I give you a perfect example is if you go on the Star Tours ride, the moment you get off that ride, you're deposited in a store called Star Trader, and it's just all Star Wars merchandise. That place is packed. I mean, you have to swim through there. It's that packed. So the thing is that what they do really, really well is they're really intelligent about how they structure their upsells. They make sense. They're logical, but they still have an emotional appeal. So if you go on a Star Wars ride and you've got this high from being on there, you basically want to go in and capture memories from it. So what I'm showing you here is just an example of how powerful this can be for your business. So these are numbers from April to May. Okay, and this is, I just want to show you this column here. So right here, this is how many sales one call center did. It was 2,271. And to this number here, the 1735 number, that was how many upsells were successfully completed. And you can see that's almost about 80%. It's roughly about 78, 79%. Now imagine, you sell 10, say you sell 10 items, or whatever it is, whether it's fitness training, it's a product, and let's say 7 out of every 10 of those on the first shot, you get an upsell, and maybe you get 8 every once in a while. So say the product you're selling, I'm just going to use round numbers for the sake of argument, is $100. You make $1,000, and then say you sell, another item that's, $50. Again, just numbers for the sake of argument. Well, what happens is you've just taken that $1,000 sale and you've turned it into a $1,350 sale. And if you multiply that out over time, it's a huge amount of money that you're going to bring into your business. So the first thing I want to talk about today, before I get into the actual live writing, is how you should structure your upsells. Now, to me, there's about 2 ways to do this. There's an upgrade, and there's a complementary upsell. Okay, so I'm going to get in the complementary upsell first. Okay, so complementary upsell, in my mind, it's the classic situation where you go through a drive-through, say at your favorite burger restaurant, and you buy a burger. Okay, you get a double cheeseburger, whatever it is, and they ask you, hey, would you like fries with that? And what you end up doing is you buy fries, and you buy a drink. Not anything special, but they're just complementary items to the original item that you purchased, which was the double cheeseburger. Okay. Now, to give you an examples of what this is, and you could make the argument those are upgrades, but I think I see upgrades a little bit differently. Is if you're selling fitness training, a complementary thing might be, you give the fitness training, and then you give like an extra manual on how to do other exercises, or you do something where you give them, say, like meal planning. Okay, just one example. The upgrade is a bit different. That's where you go in say you're buying a computer, a laptop, and you have the one computer speed that goes warp speed 5, right? And then they give you the option of buying the processing chip where you can go warp speed 9. Okay, you've significantly upgraded the performance or the output of that item. To give you an idea of an upgrade is like I would take someone who would come to a golf clinic. I pay 20 bucks for a half-hour golf clinic, and then I would upgrade them to an on-the-course golf lesson. Okay, and that would be $150. So that's where you're actually upselling something that's a higher priced, okay, item. So what I like to do is ask one fundamental question when I do this. What is the next logical thing my customer would want? Okay, so if you do, for example, you do copywriting, like I do, and someone comes to me and they say, hey, Sean, I would really like you to do some Facebook ads for me. Okay, great. Then I'll turn around and ask them, well, Mr. Customer, do you need a landing page for those Facebook ads? I might say, hey, yeah, I hadn't thought of that. Yeah, that would be really helpful. Okay, great. Then I might ask them from there, well, hey, how are you going to follow up or build momentum for this, event? Are you, the thing you're doing, do you have an email system in place? Hey, I didn't even think, hey, I actually do need emails. It's really that simple. It's just asking the customer what else they would need along with, their purchase. Going back to the computer idea, it's like they'll need a mouse. It's a complementary item. Maybe extra, storage for the computer, complementary item. And then, hey, yeah, maybe they want that faster processor, bigger memory, bigger screen, and now they're upgrading. Okay, the upgrades are where you're going to make your bigger money, but the complementary items, I think, in my mind, are the easier ones to sell. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use an example of a couple upsells that I've employed pretty successfully, and those numbers you saw, that's a big part of it. Okay, so the first upsell technique I use is this, and I'll show you how to transition this. This is social proof. Okay, typically what I do is I try to find out before I ever upsell anything what those customers tend to go for after the first sale. The reason I came up with the on-course golf lesson is I talked to a lot of customers, and they just mentioned, man, I really, really like to learn how to play on the golf course. Okay, easy. So that was an upgrade situation. Another upsell was they wanted to actually see their swing on film. So that was a complimentary sort of thing. Okay, so what I would do is I would make the initial sale, and I always reaffirm. So the first thing you want to do is reaffirm their purchase, meaning you tell the customer how great their decision was. They always want to, you always want to stoke their ego a little bit and make them feel really, really good about what they did. So you might say something like, congrats on the purchase. I know you're going to love what you just invested in. And of course, you don't have to do this word for word. This is just, an example. It just invested in. Now, here's the transition. Something I should mention to you is once many of our customers get their hands on this item, they tend to want to go, and it's usually like faster, easier, more, whatever, okay? There's something they want beyond their original purchase price. What I would put, what I'd suggest is now if you're, selling a complimentary item, you would say complement this, purchase with X, which is the item, put X item, and it gives you, and then list the benefits, okay? And it's the same thing if it's a upgrade, like, again, if you say you're doing, I know there's a lot of fitness pros in this group, so say you're doing fitness training. You could say something to the effect of, well, now you've got my 6, lose weight fast, lose 10 pounds in 10 days or whatever. Again, making this up, program. Something that many of our customers love to do is they need help with their meal planning. So there's a program I can give you today that will help you lose weight faster because you'll have your, your nutrition under control, something like that. Okay. And what happens there is that, they sit there and they go, oh, well, that makes sense. I mean, yeah, of course, they'll in their mind say, yeah, of course the nutrition is really important. One that I did is when I was doing Facebook advertising, I charge about $2,000 for a Facebook package for a month. And I would say something like, hey, something I should mention is that when I've done, Facebook advertising for many of my clients, I've found that a lot of them really wanted those the same, wanted me to do landing pages for them. Something I would suggest is, to have me do your landing pages, so the ad copy matches up with the landing page copy, and therefore the more congruence you have, the more likely you are to get, your objective filled. And they would usually sit back and go, yeah, I guess that makes sense. And they would always ask the buying question. And the buying question is, oh, how do we do that? How much does that cost? What do we need to do to get that started? If they ask that question, they're interested, and you should be able to close that sale. Okay? Now, the other one that I like to use, which is really, really cool, okay, is what I call the house money upsell. Okay? And you can combine these two. Now, where this comes from is you'll probably have noticed if you've bought any sort of like product online, or really just about anything, like a car, house, anything like that, is mysteriously the price that they're offering you is always lower than the supposed price that they were going to sell it at, right? Or you'll see something like they'll have all these bonuses for a product, and you'll turn around and say, oh yeah, these bonuses are like, worth $1,500. Okay, so in a sense, what we're going to do is position the savings that we're proposing they're getting into their house money. Okay, and house money comes from a term in Vegas where if you're winning, at the casino, you're playing with their money now rather than your own. Okay, so the way that I have structured this upsell is like that, like as follows. Okay, great choice. Whoops, sorry. Great choice on the purchase today. You're going to love how this is going to benefit customer. And you saved, I'm just going to make up a number, guys, $1,000 today. Now, one of the things our customers love to do with their savings is they tend to want whatever the benefit is of your product or upsell product. I'll put that here, so they can get more benefit. Okay, so the benefit actually here is benefit they want, and then the benefit that they get. Okay, and so at this point, what you would do, what I'd suggest is getting our, and this is the upsell item. Today, if you order now, I'll give it to you for only, whatever price. It's going to be, upsell price, whatever you're doing. You get the benefits, you already got the benefits. You'll have better performance or whatever it is. Again, this is just an example, and still save dollar amount or whatever amount. If you're in Britain, pounds, pence, whatever. Now, what happens is this: is in their head, because what they're going to kind of sit there and think about is, wow, I'm saving all this money, and I can still save money and still get this extra thing that would really help me. Okay, they still feel what they're going through in their head is they feel like they're getting this really amazing deal, and in reality they are. Let me kind of relay what happens on the phone when I listen to calls when I use this close. So what happens is they'll say something like, okay, you're going to save $117 on this food kit today. Okay, the normal price, you're getting it for $99. The normal price is like $216. All right. Now, one of the things I would suggest doing, since it's just you in the house, and you said that you have, we ask if they have other people in the house when we sell these food kits, that you have your wife, is I suggest getting a food kit for your wife as well, so your food supply lasts longer. Now I can still give you the same discount, like you're already saving $117. Now if you get a second one, you're going to save $234 off the normal price, and now also have you and your wife covered with food in case of an emergency. 79% of the time they take it. Because there's two reasons why. There's logic involved. Yes, that makes sense. In this case, your offer makes sense to me. Okay. The second reason why is emotionally they feel like they're almost stealing. They're almost ripping off the casino in a sense, and they're not doing it maliciously, but they just feel like they've gotten such a great deal that it would just be stupid to pass it up. Okay. And what happens there is you've taken a $99 order and you've turned it into a $198 order, and I've seen most times it even goes beyond that. The next upsell, the second upsell, which you should always have if they take the first one, is something to the effect, okay, now that you've got your food cover, we'll move to something complimentary. And I think the second upsell most of the time is a good complimentary upsell. So we'll sell like water-based products. Hey, you got your water covered. Or we have an air purifier. Hey, do you have this, how clean is your air in your home? Let's talk about that. Okay? So let's kind of recap this. So you should use social proof. What are people tending to buy anyway? And make that recommendation. And you're always coming at this as making a recommendation or just shedding light on, hey, this is what other people are doing. This may be a good idea for you too. Okay? Number two is the house money upsell. If you're giving away any kind of savings, which most people do, then just let them know, hey, you're already up however many dollars. So like I know one guy who sells, in our group, he sells fitness training. He has an introductory program that's really, really affordable. And I think it's somewhere like 80 or 90% off his regular price. So the easiest way to say that, even if you don't know the dollar amount off the top of your head, which you should, but if you don't, percentages are fine too. You can say, well, you're already saving 90%. If you get this today, now you're going to save 90% off whatever else, or whatever it works out. Okay? So to wrap this up, always make sure you have another item to sell, whether it's a complementary item, meaning something that complements and kind of augments the first thing you're selling, or the upgrade, which is a better, bigger, badder version of the original thing you're selling. Now, as always, I'm going to put a replay up in the group once it loads up on YouTube. If you guys have any questions, it's fine to either post it in the group, or if you just want to have a private conversation, just hit me up on Facebook. But I'm going to challenge you to make sure that you put these things in place. Okay, guys? I appreciate your time. I appreciate your patronage, as always. And if there's anything else, just holler at me. Thanks.